This is a conversation with my dear friend Valentinos Papasavvas, the CTO of the very popular service SMS.to, which provides SMS and comms services to thousands of clients around the world. With his extensive experience in working in development, building teams, and building products, we dive deep into what it means to build a great team, a great product, and what his outlook is on the future. Without any further ado, let's get started. So, Valentinos, thank you so much for taking the time. I've prepared myself with a few questions, and I think let's kick things off with just a quick little intro. Obviously, you are the CTO of Integro. I mean, they're the guys behind SMS.to. Tell us a little bit about the product, and we'll start off there, and we'll see where it takes us.
Okay, yes. So, hey everyone. As Alex said, basically I'm Valentinos. I'm the CTO of Telecom. So Telecom basically is a telecommunication company that has a lot of products behind. As you said, correct one is the SMS.to over there. That, as it says, SMS.to basically is not only about SMS, but it's covering a lot of communication channels, which there are SMS, WhatsApp, Viber. There is now the RCS, basically that has been a long time over there. And there are many ways over there. So you are renting numbers, you are communicating through API. Many people will know the OTP that is being used for 2FA stuff, but there are a lot of things that are behind the scenes that are trying to offer over there a reliable and scalable service basically for all the people that are over there. So apart from that, Telecom has also voice. So what does it mean? Basically, we are having our own numbers that people can rent, virtual numbers that an individual can rent basically, and you have your own number that you can make call and everything. You don't have to go, in the standard telecommunication to rent the number. You rent in a package, you rent one of them, and the ability basically over there, we are having interconnection globally that we can try basically to have a stable routes, stable switches basically to offer as the first priority of the company to offer basically the support and the quality of both the SMS and the voice.
Awesome. Now, Valentinos, I mean, I've like you and I have been friends for a few years now, and I roughly know your history. But for the people who are watching this, let's give a very quick CV of Valentinos Papasavvas. You began your career in 2012, where you kind of like started your journey as a web developer for a company in the UK. Then you had about 4 years at MindGeek, or now they're called ALO, where you progressed from a role of like a senior developer to more of a managerial team leader sort of position.
Exactly.
And now, ever since 2021, you are a CTO. Taking a look back at these last 12 years, what inspired you to even go into developing products, studying that field? What inspired the career is the question.
Basically, what drive me to go in the web. So,
Yeah,
exactly. So, the thing is that in my university, we are being taught everything. Maths, physics, games, built-in compilers, building their own languages. So it was giving you the broad stuff. So I finished the university in Crete, and then I moved to UK to do a master over there, which was mostly specifically of databases. And then when I went out, when I finished my master, basically, I was trying to see, okay, what Valentinos wants to progress. Does he want to do embedded systems, C level, basically C programming language, or what is the future? So over there, I didn't know anything about web pages. So I knew from the university that we build a simple application that you make users basically, and you put some roles, but very simple stuff. So I knew very barely the HTML. So when I finished my master's, the master basically, we had a module that it was giving you the ability to build a Moscow list from the beginning, present at the end basically a website that is going to be a product. And over there I saw, I think that's what I want to do. Build something for people that they can use it and I can see it real. So I can go in a browser and show it to people. Here's, I built this functionality, I built that. So I started learning more the HTML and I applied to the first job that basically it was a digital agency that it was building CMS, Intruble, ModeX, WordPress. I started very as a graduate web developer. So, and from there, I progressed all the way to where I am today. So that was the reason basically that I joined web.
You basically enjoy building stuff that people can use. So it's not
exactly.
You maybe began from like databases, from a database building perspective, but then you fell in love with product development and functionality and things that bring a smile to people's face.
Yeah,
and because ultimately if you build especially business products, well, I guess MindGeek is not exactly a business product that they're building, but when you build business products, that's also another case where people use this thing 8 hours a day. So I can see how the trajectory kind of went there.
Exactly.
Now, in terms of your progression in your tech skills, what was that thing that drove you to go from just a senior level developer to be more involved with management? Because not a lot of people want to do that. I think 8 out of 10 developers would prefer to be a tech lead versus be a team leader or a CTO. What made you take the leap to jump from tech to, well, team building?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So when I was in my first work, basically, I was a graduate web developer. So I had the opportunity and the ability, basically, to be trained by very good senior developers. And I was seeing that they are being mentoring me, and I was learning. And I was having that eager, basically, to learn more and more and absorb more knowledge from them. So, and I was seeing how they were handling it. And I was seeing them basically going out in events, speeches, tech talks. They were giving tech talks, and I was like, I want also to give back something to people. So some people say you can give through GitHub. You can make open source stuff and you give over there. Some others basically is like mentoring and create developers based on how you know stuff and pass the knowledge over there. But it's not easy to do that. You have to, you get born with that. I mean, it's not an easy skill to learn it. So it's like somewhere that I was watching a video, somebody said, everybody can be parents, but it doesn't mean basically that you're going to be the perfect parent. You're going to say you make a kid and then, it doesn't work. Give it for adoption. No, it doesn't work. So they're like that. I mean, you have to choose the path and see if you fit. So companies in that kind of level, they don't prepare you much. They see you basically on the senior level. And that's where you have to decide, what do you want? Mentoring? There are two paths. Either you go mentoring manager and you drive basically to become a CTO, or you go the path basically of the tech lead, solution architect, and you are the one basically that being an architect and you give to somebody else that they do the stuff. So, as I said, I was amazed by the senior developers that I have over there. So when I came down from UK to Cyprus in MindGeek, that's where I was given the opportunity to be the senior developer, having 13, 14 people to manage. And I was seeing myself that, I will become a lead of a product of MindGeek, because there were two products in Cyprus. So become one of them, of the lead. It's scary. It's not an easy thing.
Exactly. That's why a lot of people don't want it. They prefer the comfort of I'm writing my code, I'm building my modules, I'm shipping them, I'm QAing. They like their seat. They like their desk. How did you find the experience of transferring? What was that time like?
Yeah, that was a very difficult transition. Transitioning basically from becoming a senior developer, going to a lead, basically, meaning leading a team, but also I was a mixture of tech lead and lead. So I wanted to see basically what it would be, but I had the team, I had to mentor them. So I needed to understand. So the transition over there was very difficult. as you said, a normal employee developer, let's say, who come at work, do their work, finish, done, close, they go home, and then next day the same thing. So they might read something over there. But when you are a lead, you need basically to make sure that the people below you have everything clear to do their work next day. Make sure that they are happy with what they are doing, because basically from the industry, if you give them something that is boring, in a year's time they will be like, industry moved or the technology moved 10 times further, and I'm still stuck in a technology that is being used 5 years ago. I was like, it's boring for me. I'm resigning and I go somewhere else. So you need to be also aware of everything. But you have to know basically to care up and ask about the people that if they're happy of what they work, happy that they are in the environment that they're there, and happy to work in a team. So I was working 13 hours, 15 hours, trying to make sure basically that everything is aligned, trying to make sure that the code was there. I mean, the structure of the code, if you inherit the code basically from somebody else. So you try to pass it to the team. So the team is like always telling you, what is this code? It needs refactoring. It's the first thing that you will hear from anyone, basically in a senior, in a junior, or anything. You have to restructure everything. But you are on that managerial lead position that you cannot pass this to the management and say, okay, 1 year we don't do any development, we are actually going to do refactoring. I needed to learn how you balance between management, pass the information over there, and also keep a balance of the team to be engaged. So I had to do some extra work over there to make things more interesting for the code. Try making services, try making everything. And that is exhausting, but I needed to challenge myself to see how am I capable of this? If not, I should raise it now and say, I'm not. Maybe I need a training. MindGeek sent me a training basically for leadership. But they train you basically based on what other, circumstances. They tell you basically what scenarios. They don't train you basically on the product that you have based on the cases that you have. You have to think out of the box, improvise. So that's where I like that.
Did you miss building? Or because you're back in MindGeek, you were like you said, a hybrid, but now as a CTO, I suspect you're not as involved in the deep details of the day-to-day code. Was that always the case, in the sense that, I guess, do you miss it at all? Do you miss being involved in the code?
Exactly. Sometimes yes. That's why no one can say. It depends. There are cases that they say, I'm 100% managerial. I don't touch code at all. I don't know anything of code. On my end, I'm not. I was always basically 80% managerial and 20% involved in the big picture, not in the deep, basically. I was having an idea of what's happening because I needed to know at night when something was go off. I need to know how to fix it, because I didn't want to call, lay back over there and say, I'll call senior developer 1 and fix me these things. So I'm still on that level, 85% managerial, and I try to keep engaged on the code, not in deeply, but to know how to fix and know how things are interconnected. And also, as a CTO or manager, you need to always check what kind of other technologies are
of course, you have to look ahead.
So at that point, basically, exactly. On that department that we had in MindGeek, we didn't have Dockerized stuff. So I needed to bring basically the Dockerized. I make the presentation at that point. Make it as a tech talk, the presentation, and make it internally the company, the presentation. I even Dockerized the application by myself, basically, to give it to the people. So to see, there is something over there. We introduced some other new technologies. But it needed a lot of effort. It needed basically not to drain the time of the product features development, because we were releasing products in MindGeek, but not in the sense of a SaaS product, but a product basically that can be used by various users. So over there, basically, you need to develop features and features. So there was this thing that you have to move the features over there and being developed, and also in the parallel, get new technologies. Somebody had to do that without affecting this. So that was kind of me with some other people that they were interested. Yeah.
I kind of want to take you back to the team side of things. You've been in the industry for about 12 years. Do you feel, especially from a hindsight perspective, that in 2024 things are easier or harder compared to 2012 when you started in terms of building a team for DevOps? Do you feel like times have changed, or is it still kind of same old, it's the same structures and there's no massive shift in how things work? It's more along the lines of just giving people more pay, essentially.
It's not only the pay, for sure. Basically, one of the reasons that many people will have is the raise basically of the pay, which that changed from 2012 until now. But as you know, many things changed. 2012, basically, I don't know at what level it was, Amazon and Google and all this kind of stuff. And now, basically, we are on this level that you hear that wasn't basically Dockerized. And, today, basically, you hear Docker is like, this is obsolete. I mean, okay, everybody uses that. We have the Kubernetes now. If you are on that, not on that thing, then you're not. Team, I don't think it changed. I mean, I approach it the same way. Technology might change, but the approach is the same. Now it's the talents basically that you need to find, because always when you build a team, you need to have your talents here. And those talents, some of them, as you said, basically, both of them don't want to mentor. Some of them want to mentor. So you want to help these ones to mentor people below. And I need to find basically how many people can be mentored per person and not affect basically, as we call it, the 2-week sprint over there.
What's the best ratio of leader to team? Do you feel like a leader can be effective with 10 people below him all at the same level? Is it 3? Is it 10? Is it 5? And then the people below those people, what do you feel like the right ratio of leader to core to
senior and all the other ones,
core lieutenants, so to speak? What's the right ratio, do you feel?
Exactly. So in mind, basically, I needed to figure out that because I had 13 people. So I cannot handle
you can't
13
have a
people
direct
at the
report
same
with
Imagine
13 people at the same time. It's crazy.
Exactly. Imagine basically all 13 people had a problem and they come to me.
Go crazy.
What I will do? Just stay in a queue and execute one. Okay, first one done. Okay, next one. No, basically. So I needed to set a structure. So I identified the people that were the senior of the team. And then I saw myself how many I can handle and still do my work. I was finding basically that maximum 3 people, if they come to you, you can still do in a 2-week sprint, the 1-week sprint. So, okay. So you were able to do that. But it needed basically, so each one was different. So I started each senior basically to mentor whoever wanted to have 2 people below and be okay with 1.5 week basically to do the sprint. And if they were able to manage more,
great.
I told them, if you want another one, we can do it. At some point when things were growing and we were becoming services and microservices and everything, you are taking teams, you are mixing. It doesn't mean that senior A person has these 2 people, they cannot be shared with the other one. So maybe the senior person will say, okay, I have this person and I will go with the senior 2 that he has the other person and I make a team. And I am the owner of the service and I'm driving that. So you are liaising around. For the lead, it doesn't matter much because how many times the seniors will have problem. If they have all of them problem, okay, I will solve it. But with your seniors, basically, it's easier to communicate because you almost speak the same language. So the response basically and the solving the issue, it's faster. So over there, I didn't have a cap. I will basically, if I find all the seniors that I wanted, it's okay. So, but when it comes to a senior, basically mentoring some people, it was 2, best case scenario 3. It can go above that.
I want to zoom out a little bit. And from the team, let's go a few levels up to the telecom industry, because you're there right now and you're heavily involved. You're doing trade shows and all of this. Telecoms has evolved a lot in the last 30 years, even more so since COVID. Yet we find value like even in the humble SMS to this day, which for a lot of people it's kind of like a legacy thing. Where do you see telecoms going in the future, in the short-term future, like from your perspective?
As you said, many people will think SMS, it's a legacy. Who's using SMS? It's dying. Now we have push notification. Who needs that SMS? Just to tell them here, basically, is that fax now recently started dropping down and is going to die. We recently decided basically to drop off the fax too, because the business was going down. We didn't have the capacity to maintain it and everything, but so we needed to focus on the SMS. Imagine, fax. Many people will say, I thought fax died 10 years ago. There are still companies, there are still businesses, there are still corporates that use fax communication. There are people that they want, when an email comes, when I send an email to this address, to be sent as a fax. There are services like this. So, yeah. So SMS will still go, but SMS is transitioning in a way of what each, a user in the world basically is using. Because now we have WhatsApp, we have Viber, we have Telegram. So many people are requesting these things now. So how does it go? So you will go have WhatsApp, Viber, and if you as Alex don't have any of them, you will fall back to SMS. It will still be able to reach you.
Basically.
Okay. Exactly. Your legacy thing will come and find you. There's no way basically you will not get an SMS. You have a phone, you will get an SMS. But now they're shifting slightly the communication channels into more rich content. Because on the WhatsApp you can have images, you can have, CTA links over there.
You can do a video call.
You can do many things.
Straight there. And I'm not even going to go into what Zoom has done. Well, I mean, it's the pandemic, but it really was a catalyst for Zoom. Skype was dominating for years, but now suddenly Zoom has become the default. I feel due to the fact that it was very reliable. It was quietly reliable. I wouldn't even say that it had a better interface or something. I still don't think that Zoom has got a better interface, but it works consistently.
Yes.
It's just rock solid. So I guess multi-channel comms is roughly where you're going with the whole thing.
Exactly. And people start feeling more safe using WhatsApp and Viber, because now in our world it started rising a lot. In the SMS there is a lot of SMS fraud. So I think everybody knows that. You get an SMS that it has a link, that it comes from DHL, it comes from FedEx, it comes from your bank, so, and all this kind of stuff. People are trying to get used. We are fighting a lot of this. We are banning, try basically to build machine learning algorithms basically to detect this. So they are out of there, but still, you're going to miss some of them. They will reach people. However, you have the WhatsApp, you have the Viber, but these companies are also doing checks over there. So they would not allow any stranger to go there and said. So in order to register for WhatsApp, in order to register for Viber, you need to have a set of papers. There are regulations, big regulations. You have to tell them exactly what content are you going to send. You cannot send arbitrary content. So in SMS you can do it. But still, there are regulations, countries, each country has its own regulation. There are countries that tell you that if you change one character, your SMS will not go. You told me this is the thing, this is the placeholder. If you change something and you say put a letter or a number extra, reject it. So it's different.
Where does AI come into play in all of this? Maybe from a product development perspective, do you feel like it's coming for the jobs of developers? I mean, if you have a vision of how AI can play a role in telecoms, that's a more interesting question. But maybe let's take this AI topic to from a web development perspective. Are our jobs in trouble?
In our world, because as a product, basically, we are offering, it's API driven. So it's offering to everyone, basically, to send an SMS. Now, how AI comes of that, people can create an AI chatbot, that the AI chatbot basically can make the communications. And behind the scenes, the AI can predict based on some services that we can provide and see what is the best to reach Alex and decides by itself. Because, in a chatbot, that there is a communication, doesn't have to be, WhatsApp or Viber. At this point, basically, it's going to, decide that at 11 o'clock in the morning, basically, Alex is using mostly Viber. So I'll send him the message on Viber. So over there, maybe after that, I will send you WhatsApp. But people will start saying, I have a conversation on the WhatsApp, I have a conversation on Viber. That's why you have the web UI, which is the AI chatbot, that over there you see the discussion. Now, where did it reach you? You don't know. When you reply, you get it on your chat over there.
What if it's my AI assistant who's replying? Because that kind of leads me to a somewhat dystopian scenario where we have chatbots talking to chatbots.
So that's very, very scary, basically. I think you might saw videos that there are AI recruiters, AI support. Some companies are saying basically are using AI as a support in their support system. They're replying and they got, improved.
But I'm looking at what Microsoft is doing with their Copilot product, for instance.
Yes.
Where it's slowly helping you in the day-to-day. Google now officially released the ability to actually draft replies to email threads. And it feels to me like Telecoms is going to be a little bit more hands-off, not just from, here's a vector database, let's build a chatbot on top of that, but more also from the user, because sometimes you're waiting for specific replies, and especially in the world of SMS, when you receive a reply, up till this point, this was, you kind of know, you assume, and I don't like that word, but you assume that it's a human. I feel like in the next 5 years, we're going to have that extra problem of determining how, it's almost like CAPTCHA for not just your password, but for communicating with systems.
Yeah, you don't know if it's a human to human, and as you said, if it's going to be an AI to AI. And imagine an AI to AI answering, it was like, the hell, are they fighting? So
actually, I've seen a fantastic video somewhere on, one social media platform, where you actually get, there's two guys that took two ChatGPT chats
and they put them together.
And they put the two phones close to each other so that the two AIs are starting to talk to one another. And the conversation is actually quite interesting. It's
and it's endless.
It
does this slow.
And it's really kind of, like you said, endless. So is AI coming to take our jobs as developers? How is AI going to take care of that part? Because that's a very popular notion that, it can write code and it's only going to get better at that. What's your take on that?
Yes, it can write code. There are people that they go basically and they say, AI, can you build me a mobile app that is a chat, basically that it does this and does that? Okay, it will build you simple stuff. But when it comes to the business requirements and the business needs of any company, I don't think AI at this point is able to understand and meet the needs to deliver a product that the people, the company will want. Now, in 5-10 years, the way that it progressed, nobody knows. It might be able, but I think still the needs that any client that will want will still need a human to intervene. But for sure, and developers' work start reducing how much code is going to write, and it's going to adapt. And it will ask the AI, create me this kind of CRUD page and that it has this functionality, and then it will go and adapt it a bit and then deploy it. So many things will be...
And debugging, of course, right?
Excuse me?
Like taking a look at code and saying, debug it or optimize it.
Yeah, but it afraid me a bit, because the more automation it becomes, the more people basically will not give deep emphasis or deep understanding what that code will go. Because at some point, it's like the Stack Overflow. Many people will basically copy paste and put it there. Do you understand what it does? Is a performance impact, scalability impact? Maybe it has an SQL injection. Maybe it has something else. So, okay, people will say, AI would not make a mistake. You will tell it, write me a code that is scalable in performance, and it can scale up to 10,000 requests per second. And it will do it. And you are going to describe it more. It's going to have two Redis behind in memory this, and it's going to use Elasticsearch, and it's going to use this, and it may understand, okay, I have to optimize it all the way. But do you trust it? At some point, basically, maybe developers will say, I trust it. And if it doesn't scale, I see us in 5-10 years say, ChatGPT or whatever it will be at that point, there is a scalability issue on this line of code. Can you optimize it? I think that's what it
would you say in that sort of area, would you say that it's gonna start showing up on CVs, the ability to use AI as a developer to troubleshoot? Will it come up in tech tests during the interview? Because I feel like that's where it's going. It will become one of those extra things that you need to have in your arsenal as a developer. You should be proficient in writing code, but you should also demonstrate the ability to speed up the workflow, but remain in control.
Yeah. But let me ask you this question. Do people write on their CVs if they are good on Googling? In order to Google, basically, you need to know exactly what to ask.
You call it research.
Exactly. I mean, I never saw that, basically. Or how, if people would start adding on their CVs that expert on AI asking him things, I was like,
And well, prompt engineering.
Yes, they will find they might even ask AI, make me a CV that I know to write over there, how good I am to write, you think. So, yeah.
So you would think less of that developer if they put that as a skill. Yes, I have this 10 lines of skills in terms of my languages that I know, in terms of my experience, but you would think less of them if they put down the fact that that they are also good at prompt engineering.
No, basically I would not think this, but I would proceed in an interview and see how much they know by themselves. So in the interview you will understand if they're actually using 90% the ChatGPT and 10% over there. Because on the interview, what? I saw interviews basically that describes you the whole answer. It listens basically what the person on the other line is saying, and is writing you, here is what do you have to answer. And over there people are reading on the right over there, yes, this is the answer over there. Just to say something, basically, I started getting CVs and I see answers that are being added from ChatGPT. How did I understand it? I was like, oh, this CV seems nice. This answer that I put basically to answer that position, very detailed. And I started going further basically to say candidates, oh, I think I observed this pattern. Whoa.
Oh,
so
yeah.
This thing seems the same. You can ask ChatGPT to change it a bit. But the bullet points and the stuff that you see, if you understand how to identify it, I say, okay, ChatGPT. I'm expecting over there on the answer to give you your honest answer. Don't use ChatGPT over there because it's, that's where I want to see.
Yeah, that's rookie mistakes.
Yes,
basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
but it started happening.
Yeah.
Many people just ask, here's the question, ChatGPT, give me the answer.
Well, we see that as well with clients.
Yes.
We started getting a lot of client requirements via chat that were generated by ChatGPT. And then you get on a phone call with the client and you start asking them questions. So I can see in your requirements, you said that you want this product to have an API.
Yes.
Why do you need it to have an API? And you start asking them harder questions.
Exactly.
And they just don't know how to answer. And they ultimately crack and say, sorry, I actually asked ChatGPT. And they play it off like, oh, it's your job to tell me why I need an API, Alex. No, you put it in your requirements. But anyway, bottom line is that I feel like ChatGPT or any kind of generative AI in the hands of a master who knows code, who knows how to write user stories, who knows business development, it's a fantastic tool because you can get 80% of the way and you can spend a little bit of time correcting it, perfecting it, so that it can so that you can basically save a lot of time, especially on things that are somewhat repetitive. But yeah, in the hands of everybody else, it's people who don't know any better. It's if you're not careful, it can make you at least look like a fool, and at worst, it can ruin your product. Now, speaking of products and the market in general, I feel like in the last few years, we are reaching a point where there's a lot of services that are even, and especially where I'm coming from, where they are non-telecom services that are slowly adding telecom bells and whistles, like you have some kind of service, let's say Asana or something like this, and now you can also send notifications via text or something like that. It's like a little add-on. So in such a market where it's kind of getting crowded, back in the days we only had, Twilio. Now there's MessageBird, there's SMS.to, there's Trengo, there's so many different products. What's the recipe for survival? What do you feel like because ultimately the product is roughly the same. The pricing per SMS, let's say, is almost the same.
Exactly.
How do you survive in such a market?
That's the thing. And that's the first thing that I said at the beginning of it here. Our first priority is the deliverability and the quality that we deliver. And that's how you survive on this industry. The industry of SMS, so there are many ways to deliver SMS. There is the direct routes, there is the other routes basically that you go. There are many ways basically to, make a business from the telecom. But imagine having a client, a big client, that it has also users behind that. Because most of the times you have a client that it has a portal or a website or a web application that is using the 2FA OTP, the most critical, SMS for the client. And imagine behind the scenes they have a user that user wants to make a transaction basically of a 6-figure, wants to add now basically to do something, and he wants that OTP. If I am not reliable and I don't deliver it actually to the phone and I fake it, or I use a less quality route, let's call it, it means I'm going to lose that customer. The customer, what he cares is that, can you give me an SMS that I can go from A to B? I want to deliver an SMS from your platform. I send an API. I want to go to this phone, to this country. But behind the scenes, it's not so easy. You have to make sure that all the routings and everything are being over there. There are times that you have to check. So, quality, making sure that as a telecom we have the best and the best quality and the best routings in the world, everywhere, because we are worldwide, we are global basically, in order to satisfy any customer that comes. And we are transparent. If there is a country that we are not 100% sure basically and our deliverability is below 98%, 99% stuff, we will say, okay, if you deliver this SMS basically, it will have this. But on the OTP, we try to be 99 plus over there to make sure deliverability. There is always 1, 2, 3 SMS that they will not be delivered, And that's where we invest on our support team to liaise with the customer and find a way to deliver that SMS. Investigate it. Why? There are many cases that will come every day basically and they say, I have 3 SMS that will be delivered. I might say as telecom, like, okay, 3 SMS for this client, you're sending hundreds of thousands per day. So what is 3? Is 0.000 something basic percentage failure.
It's nothing.
But I don't know,
What
for that client, what does it mean for him? 3 SMS, it might mean 1 million, it might mean something. So we are investing on that. And yes, so that's how you survive with this business. Because at the end of the day, you said, all of them are having the same thing, an API to send an SMS to each country. There are regulations, you go the same route, you follow the standard telecom regulations that are over there, and then you build products on over that. The products that we deliver basically is protection, firewall, from this spammy SMS, and quality of the SMS that will be delivered.
I see. Where does support play a role? Do you feel like if the service is reliable to begin with, you don't need support? What about account managers where you are helping with the onboarding? Is that a thing, or ultimately is it about the SMS reaching?
You have, as you said, your account managers. There is the customer success and the customer support. Customer success in making sure basically that your customer is happy as an account manager, and you keep asking with him and you tell him, now we have this route for this country. Do you have any problems over there? Constant communication with the customer. So
constant communication.
Exactly. To make sure that the customer is happy and making sure, because many of them will come and say, I'm not happy with this provider basically sending SMS to Malaysia or sending SMS to Canada. They're sending SMS to China. China has a very strict basically regulation over there. So the job of the customer success, if we receive a feedback that we are not good, then it redirects it directly to the customer support, and then the customer support pushes further back to the NOC engineers. NOC engineers are the ones that will check deeply why the SMS didn't go on Alex's phone. That Alex now has a Cypriot number, but actually he's in Sweden. Why? So we have these kind of things also, that you have, I'm sending to the Cypriot number, but it has to go through roaming, and you will have to go to Sweden. All the parts are playing. So you have the constant communication and the support that is coming over here. So customers can open a ticket directly to the support, and how the customer account manager basically speaks with their customer.
I think I'm getting closer to the end of my list of questions. I have one final question, but it comes in like there's a fork.
Okay.
There. Let's teleport ourselves 10 years into the future. Looking back in the rear view mirror, and here comes the fork. What legacy would you want to have left, A, as a CTO, and B, as a company? Maybe in the, let's narrow this down to the telecoms industry, but if you want to open this up, if you have a bigger vision of what your legacy would look like, looking back 10 years in the past, being in the future.
Yes.
I've completely fucked this up. But
so
bottom line is that, what do you want your legacy to be as a leader, but also as a company?
Yeah. So as a CTO, as you said, if I see it from 10 years, what I've done until now, because when I came in Telco Telecom, the company was struggling to grow from the point of scalability on the system. So I dived in, fixed things, built a team based on the knowledge that I have, and we are here where we are now. Many people starting knowing us.
And if we go to 2034 and you look back, what do you want to see?
What do I want to see basically from myself? That as
10 years from now, looking back as a CTO, what's the legacy? What would you want people to say about Valentinos?
But Valentinos basically took a company that was a startup and brought it in a level that it's everywhere, everybody knows that, and it's a company that you can rely on that, because their services are very reliable, and what he said about the support is what is there. And in the 10 years I will see is still that thing. And I am the one that they put the foundations over there along with the rest, because in a company, you cannot be the only one that is driving things. You have to work as a team everywhere in all departments. And yes, and from the company perspective, having a company that 10 years or even basically 3 years ago was struggling to grow, today is growing rapidly, and in 10 years, it might be the next, trillion what it is, or basically, but keep the standards that we have today. We grow basically based on that. So my legacy is to feel like, here it is. That's what I've done. All the mentorship, basically, all the leadership, what I've done, all the builds, all the effort that I added. Here's what a CTO Valentinos did.
Wow. No, I think that's a good legacy, especially from the perspective of building the people so that they can build the product, so that the company can thrive long term. Because, in this culture of startups, everybody is looking at today and maybe 6 months ahead. But I feel like, at least maybe it's an age thing. I don't know. But I want, whatever I do, to have a 10-year vision. And looking back, I don't want to see myself or my company as that, they just cared about the projects or the money or something like that.
They build projects for clients.
It's about building people up, because I feel like that's the one thing that will stand the test of time. Companies will come and go. Maybe tomorrow you get bought out by Google or Amazon because they want to, compete with Twilio or something like that. But you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, so if they want to buy you, it means that they see a value that it can compete with something else. So it means that that's another achievement to say, I built something basically that is being bought by a
big, huge company.
Yeah.
So, Valentinos, those were roughly my questions. I think we've covered everything that I wanted to cover. And that's now good. The ball is in your court. Do you have any questions for me?
No, from your end, basically, because how is low code? Do you see the low code basically going further, and you seeing the coding that the developers do being obsolete?
Ooh, that's a very good question.
I mean, many people ask that, and I don't know, Now I want to see how do you see it?
So, okay, I see, in my mind, there's two camps. There's the hardcore developer who is all day buried in code. There is the other person who is maybe a CEO of a small company, 10, 15, 20 people. Okay? And they don't have the budget for a full-time developer. So I feel like no code can fulfill the needs, certain needs of both of these people. For the hardcore developer, things like Retool, they will allow developers to build especially internal tools, because yes, they want to focus a lot usually on shipping products that are, live and all of that. But there's also the need to build internal tools for operations. And the development team is also heavily involved in that. So I feel like no code will take over that segment of the developer market. I don't think a developer will say, let's ship a product to 100,000 people based on low code. No, but definitely I feel like the next generation of developers, people who are finishing university now it's June, right?
They're finishing now, they're giving the exams.
Yeah, they're giving the exams. I feel the people who finished uni in 2024, they will have more to do with low code, for sure. Because there's limited budgets, there's limited time. You want to ship the things that matter with enough time to do that. But the things that are more for the internal side, and maybe we don't care how everything looks and we don't want to have all of that control, but we want to make sure that it works properly. I feel like low code can help those people. The people on the other side who are business owners, who are running that startup, or even startups with products that they want to ship. I feel like low code is a fantastic stepping stone to make that product much easier to communicate when you want to build it on React and Go, because you will have ironed out all of the processes of the user stories basically within that low code environment. You can even get a few real clients on there, 100, 1,000 people to use it. Then you take this, once you see that you have a proof of concept of a working MVP that is making money, at that point, maybe even a few months before that point, you should go run to investors to get $100, $300, $1 million for funding, so that you can then take this low-code stack based on Airtable, based on something like no low-code, based on a certain stack, Zapier, and give this to your proper developers and say, here's my relational database, turn this into Postgres. Here's my front end, React, and I want certain bells and whistles, go. That developer now has a proper schema. They have very well established user stories that are not going to change from day to day. They are what they are. We just need to build this with a few extra features, and that development process I feel there's gonna be a change in the speed requirements of clients against their proper developers, because they saw the power of low code and how quickly you can change your mind. And I feel like they will have a similar requirement from their proper team. I had an interesting discussion yesterday with a potential client. They're kind of like building software for tractors. And he actually has built a proper piece of kit. It was done in PHP originally, and now they're moving it to Go and React. He got in touch with me because he wanted to give low code a try. And my question to him was, why are you even speaking to me? You have this product that you're building, you're taking it to version 2, it looks nice and it's great. His response was, well, it's slow. It takes forever to build something. And here I am as a business owner looking at low code, and it can do everything that we need it to do. So I'm tempted to stop developing in native and jump into low code. And I explained to him that low code, at least right now, has got scalability issues. If you're dealing with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of rows per month, low code is not there, because 80-90% of businesses or operations teams, they don't need that many rows, records per month, per week, per day. It's much, much less. But if your audience is very large, yes, you're going to be dealing with a ton of data. And that's why native exists. But yeah, hopefully I've answered your question as to how no code is going to impact both the people inside and the people outside of the development cycle.
You covered it all, basically. I mean, as you said it has scalability issues. That's the thing. But not everyone cares about scalability, because, as you said, the business might not have hundreds of millions per month records. They may have thousands. It's over there. You don't have to write something from scratch to give them over there. There are services you can assemble, connect them, and it's ready with the low code. Yeah. So you answered my question. Yeah. My last one is, can you build a SaaS product with low code?
Look, technically, yes. I feel like it needs to be somewhat niche. Scalability. It has to be somewhat niche. We've built SaaS products. Well, we've built MVPs that got funded and became SaaS, proper, scalable SaaS products. And the most interesting thing is that those projects that we got funded and are doing well, they began collecting money when they were still low code.
Okay.
So they were already charging.
Okay.
Yes, they moved to native only after they've gone through hell of making sure that the idea and the processes and the user stories worked. Because when you begin this journey, you have plan A. Rarely does plan A remain. It usually becomes plan F by the time it matures in your mind, in the mind of your co-founders, and you get enough feedback from real clients in order to actually make it something that is great. It takes a village to do that. It takes effort. So yeah, you can stay there. If you're quite niche, you can stay in low code for an indefinite amount of time. But if you are a little bit ambitious and you wanted to grow to a much bigger thing and maybe potentially think of an exit at some point, selling it or doing something like that, you have to show your investors that, look, this is how it looks like right now. I'm already profitable because I'm charging maybe you're not profitable, maybe you're just breaking even, maybe you're not even breaking even, but at least you have the proof that people are willing to pay for this. Also, investors care about who's at the helm. What kind of experience do you have? You could be some dude who hasn't got any experience in this. You were lucky, you won the lottery and you just threw enough money at this and you had people build it. So yes, it can be a SaaS product. The vast majority of the time, no code is a stepping stone for quick ideation, quick changes of mind for startups. It still works, but I don't feel like anybody who's taking this seriously, they are under any illusions that you are actually a software company. Actually, an interesting thing happens, especially with low code, that has to do with, can it become a SaaS product? A lot of times business owners approach us to build them an internal tool. Towards the end of that initial conversation, they ask me, you know what? Are we able to also sell it to my competitor down the road? I feel like my idea, nothing unique about their idea, I feel like my idea, like we could charge $50 per user per month. And I have 100% success rates in bringing them down to earth, by the way. The way I do it is I tell them, so, okay, John, are you ready to become a software company? Are you ready to support those users when something doesn't work? Are you ready to sell this to them and visit them or get on Zoom calls with them? Are you ready to care about security and performance? And suddenly they kind of change their mind because they never think about it. I think a lot of this depends on the founder, on the CEO. If he's just trying to build an MVP SaaS product, usually they're prepared to become a software company. They just need a vehicle that is quick, cheap, that can get them in front of investors with a straight face and proof within 3 months. But also low code is where I guess dreams die for not serious enough people.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully that answers your question a bit.
Exactly, answers it, because as you said, basically, and it's right that you're putting them in front and say, what do they need in order to be serious to the next level? You need support. You need to have the security, scalability. You need to have managers. You need to have developers. All of this is ching, cost, and it's not a cheap cost. So over there, yeah. But I got the idea, basically, is low code will help a lot if somebody has an idea and wants to speed it up, and get it out there and show it. It's the best thing. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, interesting conversation.
Awesome. Well, Valentinos, thank you so much for your time. It's awesome to speak to somebody who knows what they're talking about when it comes to development with the wealth of experience that you have, of course. So, yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We should, I hope, book round 2 for next year and see
where we are. If we're
where
still
we are
on the same page. Yeah.
if we're on the same page and if AI has taken your job, my job, and that's it. We just live in some kind of weird game. So, yeah, thank you so much for your time. Always a pleasure. And
Me too.
Yeah, hope to
It was
speak
good
soon.
to have. See you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.